On a cold March evening in 1974, Princess Anne, the only daughter of Queen Elizabeth II, faced down an armed kidnapper with remarkable composure, delivering the now famous retort, "Not bloody likely." This defining moment, which saw multiple men wounded protecting the 23-year-old princess, transformed public perception of the reserved royal into that of an unshakable force of nature. The incident, unprecedented in modern British royal history, revealed a character forged through years of public service, athletic discipline, and an unwavering sense of duty. In today's episode, we uncover a portrait of a princess who refused to be defined by circumstance, whose defiance in the face of danger exemplified the resilience of the British royal family, and whose response to trauma would set a new standard for royal security protocols. Princess Anne Elizabeth Alice Louise entered the world at 11:50 in the morning on August 15, 1950, during the reign of her grandfather, King George VI. Born at Clarence House, her arrival was heralded by a 21-gun salute in Hyde Park, befitting her position as third in line to the British throne. Under the careful guidance of Governess Catherine Peebles, Anne received her early education within the walls of Buckingham Palace, laying the foundation for a life of service and discipline. The young princess's character began to take shape through her involvement with the first Buckingham Palace Company of Girl Guides, specifically reformed for her participation, allowing her to socialise with peers while developing leadership skills. Her education continued at Benenden School, where she distinguished herself academically, earning 6 General Certificate of Education ordinary levels and 2 advanced levels, before embarking on her public duties at the age of 18 in 1969. It was in the world of equestrianism that Anne truly found her calling, demonstrating the determination and fearlessness that would later serve her in moments of crisis. Her prowess in the saddle led to remarkable achievements, including winning the individual title at the European Eventing Championship in 1971, with her homebred horse, Doublet, earning her the prestigious BBC Sports Personality of the Year award. The princess's competitive spirit drove her to even greater heights as she competed with the British event team, securing silver medals in both individual and team disciplines at the 1975 European Eventing Championship. In 1976, she made history as the first member of the British royal family to compete in the Olympic Games, demonstrating extraordinary resilience when she remounted after suffering a concussion during the event. Beyond her sporting achievements, Anne developed a reputation for being forthright and uncompromising, inheriting what many observed as her father Prince Philip's sharp wit and her mother's unwavering sense of duty. Her marriage to Captain Mark Phillips in 1973 marked a new chapter in her life, with their Westminster Abbey ceremony drawing an estimated television audience of 100 million viewers. This union represented Anne's independent spirit, as Phillips declined the earldom traditionally offered to untitled men marrying into the royal family, resulting in their children being born without titles. By early 1974, Princess Anne had established herself as a formidable figure, an Olympic athlete, a working royal, and a young woman who approached her duties with remarkable focus and determination. These qualities, honed through years of public service and athletic competition, would prove invaluable when faced with an unprecedented threat to her life and liberty. Her mastery of horses had taught her to face charging dangers head-on, a skill that would prove unexpectedly relevant on a London street where no royal had faced threat since medieval times. Throughout the centuries, royal figures had served as prime targets for kidnappers and assassins, their symbolic power and wealth making them irresistible prizes for those seeking ransom or political leverage. The capture of King Richard I in 1192 had demonstrated the vulnerability of even the most powerful monarchs, with the Lionheart held for a massive ransom that nearly bankrupted England. By the 20th century, the British royal family had faced numerous plots, including the sobering reality of World War II, when the Queen Mother had taken the precaution of learning to shoot in case Nazi forces attempted to capture the royal family. Yet in 1974, the streets of London seemed an improbable stage for such medieval dramatics, with the royal family regularly conducting public walkabouts and maintaining minimal security details. This facade of invulnerability shattered at 8 o'clock on the evening of March 20th, 1974, as Princess Anne's dark green limousine made its way down the Mall toward Buckingham Palace. A white Ford Escort suddenly swerved in front of the royal vehicle, forcing it to an abrupt halt mere minutes from the palace gates. From the Escort emerged Ian Ball, a 26-year-old unemployed labourer whose outward ordinariness masked a plot of shocking audacity. Ball immediately opened fire, his first shot striking Princess Anne's chauffeur, Inspector Alex Callender, in the shoulder. Inspector James Beaton, Anne's personal bodyguard, leaped from the vehicle to protect the princess, only to be met with a bullet to the chest before his own weapon jammed at the crucial moment. Within the disabled limousine sat Princess Anne and her husband of 4 months, Captain Mark Phillips, their evening return from a charity event having transformed into a scenario that would have seemed implausible mere minutes before. Ball, having incapacitated both the chauffeur and bodyguard, advanced to the rear door of the limousine, yanking it open to reveal his true target, the Queen's only daughter. In his possession was a carefully crafted plan, a typed ransom letter demanding £2 million, handcuffs and Valium tranquilizers, all intended to facilitate a scheme that would have seen Queen Elizabeth II herself flying to Switzerland to deliver the ransom. The Royal Protection Protocols of 1974 had never anticipated such a brazen attack, with Anne's security detail consisting of a single bodyguard carrying a Walther PPK pistol, a weapon that had proved devastatingly inadequate when it mattered most. As Ball levelled his weapon at the princess, the scene had already become the first attempt to kidnap a member of the British royal family in modern history, shattering centuries of assumed safety on London's most prestigious avenue. In the back seat of the limousine, Princess Anne assessed her attacker with the same calculating gaze she had used countless times to size up a threatening jump on the equestrian course. Unaware that her next words would echo through British history, her response would reveal that while centuries of royal kidnapping attempts had taught the family to fear such moments, they had failed to account for one crucial detail. This particular princess had no intention of playing the role of victim. When Ian Ball demanded Princess Anne exit the vehicle, her response, not bloody lightly, emerged not as a panicked outburst, but as a calculated statement delivered with remarkable composure. The princess would later reveal that she remained scrupulously polite to her armed attacker, having made the split-second decision that antagonizing a man with a gun would only escalate the situation. A flash of anger had surged through her at the sheer audacity of the attempt, but she expertly suppressed it, recognizing that losing her temper could prove fatal. Instead, Anne engaged in a surreal tug-of-war with her would-be kidnapper, Ball pulling her toward freedom, while her husband, Captain Mark Phillips, desperately tried to maintain his grip on her from inside the vehicle. When Ball revealed his demand for £2 million in ransom, Anne's dry response, "I haven't got £2 million," demonstrated the same cool wit she had inherited from her father, Prince Philip. The princess's stalling tactics bought precious time as help arrived from unexpected quarters, beginning with Daily Mail journalist Brian McConnell, who approached Ball with the remarkably British suggestion, "Don't be silly, old boy." Ball's response was another gunshot, adding McConnell to the growing list of wounded that included Inspector James Beaton, chauffeur Alex Callender, and police constable Michael Hills. Through the chaos of gunfire and struggle, Anne maintained her composure, even as her lady-in-waiting, Rowena Brassey, managed to escape through the opposite door. Salvation arrived in the form of former heavyweight boxer Ronnie Russell, who, upon witnessing the scene, delivered a decisive punch to Ball's head, momentarily stunning the attacker. Detective Chief Inspector Peter Edmonds seized this opportunity to tackle the dazed kidnapper, finally ending the incident that had left 4 men bleeding on one of London's most prestigious streets. In the immediate aftermath, Anne's concern turned instantly to others, her first action upon reaching safety being to inquire about the conditions of those wounded in her defence. The princess's call to her parents, then in Indonesia, revealed her characteristic understatement as she assured them she was thankful to be in one piece, deliberately minimising the trauma to avoid causing them undue worry. Queen Elizabeth II responded to the bravery of Anne's defenders by awarding the George Cross to Inspector James Beaton, while Ronnie Russell and the other injured men received the George Medal and Queen's Gallantry Medal for their valour. Ball's subsequent psychiatric evaluation revealed a delusional plot involving handcuffs, tranquilizers, and a planned escape to Switzerland, leading to his indefinite detention at Broadmoor Hospital. Anne's refusal to attend any form of therapy or counselling following the incident spoke to both her stoic nature and her determination not to let the attack define her life. Within days, the princess returned to her royal duties, approaching them with the same unflinching dedication that had helped her survive the kidnapping attempt. The entire episode had lasted mere minutes, but its ripples would fundamentally alter both royal security protocols and the public's perception of the Queen's only daughter. The 1974 kidnapping attempt transformed not just royal security protocols, but also the public's perception of Princess Anne, recasting the reserved royal as an emblem of unflinching courage. Within 2 years of the incident, she channeled her resilience into making Olympic history, becoming the first member of the British royal family to compete in the Games as part of the equestrian team in Montreal. Her marriage to Captain Mark Phillips, which had weathered the kidnapping attempt together, would last until 1992, producing 2 children, Peter and Zara Phillips, who, at their parents' choice, grew up without royal titles. In the decades following the attack, Anne developed a reputation as the hardest-working member of the royal family, carrying out more than 20,000 engagements since her 18th birthday. The princess's dedication to public service manifested in her patronage of more than 300 organisations, with her work focusing on sports, sciences, and people with disabilities. Her commitment to save the children, spanning more than 50 years, took her to projects across Bangladesh, Sierra Leone, South Africa, Mozambique, Ethiopia, and Bosnia and Herzegovina, earning her a Nobel Peace Prize nomination in 1990. In 1992, the same year as her divorce from Mark Phillips, Anne married Commander Timothy Lawrence in a small ceremony at Crathie Kirk, near Balmoral Castle, choosing practical happiness over traditional protocol. Her reputation for efficiency and directness became legendary, with Anne famously telling photographers to naff off at the badminton horse trials and developing a no-nonsense approach to royal engagements that earned her the public's respect. Between 2002 and 2022, she conducted 11,088 engagements, more than any other member of the royal family, earning her the nickname the trustiest anchor of the institution. The princess's practical nature extended to her personal style, as she became known for recycling outfits decades apart and doing her own hair and makeup, driving herself to engagements despite twice being fined for speeding. Her unique approach to royal duties included refusing to shake hands during walkabouts, explaining simply that the theory was that you couldn't shake hands with everybody, so don't start. At age 73, Anne continued to maintain her grueling schedule of royal duties, having been seen mending fences at Gatcombe and queuing up for the Portaloos at her daughter's horse competitions. When asked about retirement on both her 60th and 70th birthdays, she firmly denied any such plans, citing her parents' example of lifelong service. In 2022, she made history again as the first woman to participate in the Vigil of the Princes, guarding her mother, Queen Elizabeth II's coffin at St Giles Cathedral and Westminster Hall. As of this year, Princess Anne has remained one of Britain's most popular royals, her practical, no-nonsense approach to royal duties having earned her a unique place in the public's affection. The armed confrontation on the Mall had revealed hasn't just Anne's extraordinary courage. It has unveiled a royal who would spend the next 5 decades demonstrating that same resolute spirit in service to her nation. And now I'd love to see you in the comments. Were you familiar with the kidnapping of Anne, Princess Royal? And what are your thoughts of her amazing story? I can't wait to hear from you. And thanks for joining us for another episode of Old Money Allure. Cheers. Until the next one.